The main thing, honestly, with most people that I've talked to say, look, I don't spend enough time with them. That's the main thing. About 10 years in, I had this talk with her. And ever since that talk, we haven't had that problem ever again. Like the last 16 years, everything's been perfect. A lot of people used it on their spouses, on their girlfriends, and they're like, bro, like that was game changing. Like you don't understand. Like
Abraham, what's up, bro? Welcome to the TMCT podcast.
Yeah, man, it's awesome to be here finally.
So, bro, you're super successful in business. Would you say that your marriage is also super successful?
I would say my marriage is as successful or even more successful than my business. And the reason why I say that is because I've been with my wife for over 26 years now. Mm-hmm. And most of my friends or most people I know haven't been with their spouse for 26 years, especially at my age. And a lot of them have been divorced, have gotten, married again, sometimes twice. Mm-hmm. A lot of them are in a good place now where they are with their current wife for a long time and they matured from when they were younger. But I just figured it out when I was, really young.
What have you figured out?
A lot of things, how to compromise, how to make everything work for everybody, and, how to make everything a win-win, So I can give you a lot of different examples. But that's really what it was. So
before you go there, because when people say this thing, compromise, mm-hmm. Would you ever drive a compromised car?
Would I ever drive a compromised car? If it gets me to where I need to go. Depends on what compromise in what way. I wouldn't compromise if it's going to get a flat tire and kill me. But if it's going to get me where I need to go, but it's not as comfortable as I'd like, but it makes the other person happy and we could both win, because I get where I want to go, and then that's where they wanted me to go. But that's the type of compromise. You're not going to compromise on something that's going to kill you.
Well, but that's the thing. Would you go on a compromised plane if you knew it was compromised?
Well, it depends what you mean by compromise. But if you're going on a compromised plane or a car that's going to kill you, then you're with the wrong person. That they shouldn't want you to compromise that way.
But if marriage is built on compromise,
it's compromise.
You just really never know when it's going to fall apart.
That's
right?
Not true. It's built on compromise to where everybody wins. Everyone has to win on the compromise.
Give me an example.
Oh, there's tons of examples I can give you, but there's one really cool thing that I've actually told this story for the first time a few months ago, and I've told it a few times since. And a lot of the people I've told it to is like, dude, you changed my life with my girlfriend, with my wife.
Drop the nuggets.
So this is a story. This is a true story, and this is really what happened to me. So most of my friends, basically, I asked them, what problems do you have with your girlfriend or with your wife, or if previous marriage, if you've been remarried, what's the most common things that happen, just so I could figure it out. I like solving stuff. So they're like, well, the main thing, honestly, with most people that I've talked to say, look, they just always say, I don't spend enough time with them. That's the main thing. Mm-hmm. I don't spend enough time with you. I don't spend enough time with you. And they just bug you to death. Like girls are crazy, and sometimes guys, if it's the girl that's more ambitious and more, entrepreneurial, but girls always want you to spend more time with them. And that's one of the things that no matter how much time you spend, it's always not enough, and you have to spend more. And it just doesn't work out because it doesn't work out for the other person. Mm-hmm. So that's probably the biggest thing. Of course, there's money problems, potentially there's, infidelity problems. But for the most part, if you're a good person, you're not going to have the infidelity. And the money stuff, once you're in a good place, the money should work itself out. But no matter who you are, how much money you have, how much money you don't have, time is always a big thing. So people are like, don't you have that problem with Donna? Don't you have that problem with your wife? Doesn't she always bug you that you don't spend enough time? And the truth of the matter is, in the beginning, the first 5 or 10 years we were together, we've been together 26 years now, that came about a lot. Mm-hmm. And I was sick of it. It was like, look, I need to do what I need to do. This is how much time. But about 10 years in, I had this talk with her. And ever since that talk, we haven't had that problem ever again. Like the last 16 years, everything's been perfect. That never comes up. It's all because of this one talk. And it's literally like a 2-minute conversation. And I told everyone what that conversation was. That's what I've been telling people.
We need to know. Pour it.
And since then, literally, a lot of people used it on their spouses, on their girlfriends, and they're like, bro, that was game changing. You don't understand. We don't even get in arguments anymore. We understand each other. It's like everything is good. So, yeah, that's the story I started telling. So you want to hear the story?
Bro, a bunch of men want to hear this story.
Well, some women too. I mean, sometimes the women are the ones that want,
Everyone on the podcast wants to hear the story.
Yeah. All right. So here's the story. So this is what happened. So I went to my wife, Donna, and, she's like, oh, you don't spend enough time with me. I need to spend more time with you. I was like, all right, cool. So I explained to her, I said, look, there's certain things I have to do in my life to be happy. I have to go to the gym a certain amount. I have to hang out with my friends. I have to do a certain amount of work. Mostly it was work, right? So I have to do a certain amount of work so I know that I could, make enough money, feel good about myself, know that I'm accomplished. And if I spend more time with you, then I'm gonna have to take away from some of that stuff. And it's okay. Like if that's what you really want me to do, I'm okay to do that. But just know right now we're spending 10 hours a week together. Every Friday we have a date night, we hang out on the weekends, and we're spending 10 hours a week, every single week together. And you love that time together, right? And she's like, yeah, I love that time. That's why I want to have more time. It's like perfect time. It's so great. It's like quality time. I was like, well, that's why. It's because I'm able to do all this other stuff. And when I have my time with you right now, it's quality time. But you know what? If you want more time, I'm cool with that. So here's the thing. I will spend 20 hours a week with you or whatever time you want me to, but just know that I'm going to be sacrificing some of the stuff that makes me super happy, that makes me feel good about myself. And when I spend time, that extra time with you now, I'm going to be thinking about what I didn't get done. I'm going to be looking on my phone because I'm going to be getting a deal that I should have probably, before I would have had the time to do that. I'm not going to have the time to do now. And, it's probably not going to be quality time because I'm going to be thinking about other stuff and I'm not going to be as happy because a lot of the stuff that makes me happy, I'm not able to do now because I'm spending this extra time with you. Mm-hmm. But if that's what you want, babe, like I want to make you happy. So let's spend that time together. So just tell me, do you want me to spend that 10 hours of super quality time with you every single week like we've been doing? Or do you want me to have 20 hours with you every week, but just not be, quality time? It'll still be good, but it just won't be quality. You might, I might be distracted. You might see in my face that I'm not as happy I used to be because I'm missing stuff that I need for myself. Mm-hmm. So just tell me what you want and whatever you want, I'm good with. I'll do it, And so she comes back the next day. She's like, I thought about it. I get it. Like, let's just stick with the 10 hours a week and it's fucking great time. And let's just do that. And ever since then, it's never come up because if it ever comes up, I'm like, remember that conversation we had 15 years ago? Like I can spend more time with you, but just, I'm not going to be like as into it because I'm going to be distracted. I'm not going to be able to do all the other stuff that I was able to do with that extra 10 hours that's making this time so quality. So that's basically the conversation.
I love that, right? Where you spend intentional time in that, let's call it the 10 hours, right? Mm-hmm. What does that intentional time look like? Is it where you plan something for her or like you guys come up with something together? Like, what does that intentional time look like?
I mean, to be honest, it's either we plan something together or she plans a little bit more of it. I mean, she always wants me to plan more. I sometimes plan stuff, but I don't plan stuff as much as I probably should. So, but like, there's certain things I like to do. I like to go out to dinner. I like to go to a movie. It's just relaxing. You get to chill. You get to talk while you're eating and stuff like that. So that's my go-to. But, we go to comedy clubs a lot. We go to just other different types of stuff like that. We'll go out of town. We'll travel some, every few months we'll go somewhere. But those are the types of things. But like every single week, it's hard to come up with something brand new, super cool to do. There's different concerts that we could come up with sometimes and different venues, but it's hard. For me, my go-to is movies. So, a lot of times I'll be like, all right, let's go to this new movie that came out. And she'll be like, oh, we always go to the movies. I'm like, yeah, but you enjoyed it. It's fun, whatever. If you want to do something else, let me know.
Yeah.
But so she'll usually plan something if it's something other than like 2 or 3 things I like to do. Mm-hmm. But, whatever she plans, I'll go do.
And let's go back a little bit because before you said like the first 10 years was a lot of kind of begging for time. Mm-hmm. How did you navigate that first 10 years?
It's frustrating. Yeah, it's frustrating. So I just never let it bother me enough to where I made a big deal about it. But, obviously it was pressure on me because she's like, I need to spend more time. But, you want to live this lifestyle and I need the extra time to be able to provide that lifestyle and, everything else. So, I just realized at some point within 10 years later that I had to explain it in a way that everybody could understand and make sense. And that's really what I do with everything now. Like if I'm negotiating with a seller to buy a business, buy a property, to negotiate, just anything, it doesn't matter what it is. I always figure out the other person's point of view and then my point of view and kind of explain it to where they understand, to where they can't argue. I make everything so logical to where you just can't argue with it because it's just too logical and it makes sense.
Got it. So that makes sense. And Jazz and I, we hang out with you guys and go to dinner and I see you guys' interaction and it's very interesting because here's another thing about you guys is that you're in an interracial marriage.
Right.
Right? Tell me a little bit about the pros and cons and some of the things that you experience when you guys go out?
I really don't experience anything anymore. Probably back like 26 years ago, maybe you'd see like a little bit of stuff every once in a while. But I think like over the last, 10, 15 years, I think it's almost like cooler to like, to be interracial than to be regular at this point. Like, it's kind of like, the world's gone so crazy that everything's opposite that it was. So whatever was weird before is like more normal now. But I mean, I don't think it was ever a problem ever. Like, there wasn't really, all my friends kind of were friends with her. All her friends are friends with me. So when we went out, and then back, I mean, we didn't grow up in the 60s, or 50s. I think if we grew up in the 60s, it would have been maybe weirder. But, this is pretty much the 90s it wasn't even the 90s, actually. It was the 2000s. Like, this is the 2000s. So, I mean, everything in the 2000s was kind of like normal. And we grew up in Atlanta. So keep in mind, Atlanta is so diverse that like it's normal. Now, if we went to somewhere like out in the middle of nowhere where there's not like, it's not very diverse, then I think maybe it'd be a little bit of issues. But no, I think it's more common than not.
Yeah. So did her parents have any type of pause at all?
Never. Like her parents loved me from the beginning. My parents liked her from the beginning. I mean, we look at it like, how is that person? Are they a cool person? Are they a good person, bad person, easy to get along with, funny, an asshole? And that's kind of how it was. So yeah, no, we never had any, any siblings. Everything was normal. You wouldn't even think of it as being interracial. Like it was like different than being anything normal. I don't know.
That's really interesting because even kids are probably picked on and stuff like that because of interracial marriages. Have your kids ever experienced anything with having a black mom or what would you call you, a white dad?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard of anything ever. I've asked them a few times over the years, just whatever, and they act like it's normal. All their friends act like it's normal. I think it's just like kind of normal these days. So
right.
I don't think like in today's day. I think like again, when I was growing up in the 80s and even maybe 90s, it might have been a little bit more like people would have looked at you different. But I don't even think people blink an eye. I think it's like super normal.
Cool. So let's talk about kids, right? So you and Donna, married 26, been together for 26 years. You guys have 3 kids. How does life work with balancing? I know you talked about your intentional time with Donna. What does intentional time with the kids look like? Yeah.
So I could get into that, but I have one cool thing to talk about what you just asked me before about the interracial stuff. Yeah. If everyone did what me and Donna did and had interracial marriages, like there would be no racism anymore because everyone would be mixed. So I think I'm helping get rid of racism. There's like
where did this mindset come from?
No, I mean think about it. If everyone was the same, then there wouldn't be any.
No, I think it's beautiful.
Yeah. I think someone like you that has a black wife and you're black, I think that's kind of weird because now you're just extending. No, you're just extending the we're different, to some degree in people's minds. Like I don't see it being different so much, but like some people do. But like if you were to get like an interracial, marriage and have, or even not a marriage, but have interracial kids, I think eventually then everyone's going to be, mixed and then there won't be any issues. So thanks for causing it to keep going. So back to the kids. This is true. It's true. Think about it.
I mean, I hear what you're saying, right? But what makes it interesting that you're saying that is because was this always an attraction for you to be attracted to a black woman versus a white woman?
I was never attracted to like a black woman or a white woman, but I do like the mixed skin color the best. So mixed skin color is cool. Like the blend between is like a really.
Where did that come from though?
It doesn't come from anywhere. I think that people just like certain things. Why do you like pizza and not steak? Why do you like pork and not beef? Like people just get taste. How do they get the taste? I'm not sure, but
I mean, it comes from where you grew up because people that live in the hood, they don't grow up with a taste for steak. They grew up with a taste for McDonald's and Burger King, right? So it has a lot to do with what you how you grew up and where you live and what you're used to seeing.
I don't think that's true. I think that you're saying that people that grew up in the hood get a taste for McDonald's. But the truth of the matter is, every single rapper that I know that I follow that grew up in the hood, as soon as they have a little bit of money, they're not at McDonald's. They're eating steak with their beans and rice. You know what I mean? So like, it's not because they grew up in the hood. It's because that's what they could afford, you know?
Well, exactly. So when did you get to that place of being able to afford whatever you want to say, a black woman, and it's like, oh, this is cool, this is normal,
I always saw it as, so I went to, when I grew up, I actually grew up and there was not a single black kid in my school. Like, it was all white kids for all elementary school. And then I moved to Tampa and I went to high school there, and it was like 90-some% white. Like, it was very few. Like, on the football team, the running back and wide receivers, and the basketball team was black, but like everybody else in the school was white. And then I moved to Atlanta. I'm like, holy shit, I never even saw so many black people in my life. Like, I moved here when I was 15, and like I was like the 10% white, you know?
Yeah.
So, but then once you're in that school, you're like, it just becomes normal. It's like, all right, it's just, you know, you see everything normal. When you're growing up with all of these white, like a lot of the schools I went to that was all white, especially like in middle school and stuff, you can see a lot of those kids are racist, but they're racist because they've never been around diversity. So they don't know what they don't know. They know what they are told by their parents, grandparents, what they see on TV and all that stuff. But once you're around it all, it's like, no one's different than anyone else. It's just a matter of some people are assholes, some people aren't, you know? So,
but that's a mindset, because you could have been racist the same way living in Tampa and being around the majority of white people. But even when you came to Atlanta, I think 15 is old enough to adapt a racist mindset or not, right? But that wasn't the case for you.
I mean, when I was growing up younger and I was around all these, it was all mostly white kids in school and all this stuff, and people would say stuff like, you know, some racist stuff or stuff like that. I mean, if I was friends with them, then yeah, I'd start believing it too. So, I mean, I kind of, whoever you're around, you're going to end up believing and being a little bit like them. So you are a little bit like that to some degree. I mean, when I was around that, that's all you know. You can't be different. Yeah. But then once you get around and you move, and then now you're around diversity, and you see it for yourself instead of hearing it from other people, then that's when you can make up your own mind for everything, you know?
Do you have a Black Lives Matter t-shirt?
No, I don't. I don't have a Black Lives Matter. I don't have an All Lives Matter either, though. So we're good.
So back to kids, man. When do you spend intentional time? Because you have several businesses, very busy. You have intentional time locked in with Donna. Yeah. When do you have intentional time with the kids? So
with the kids, I do a lot of stuff on the weekends with them. So I actually started doing something about a year ago where every single month I take one trip with the kids somewhere. It's usually the two boys. I have two boys and a girl. The girl's younger. But Ty and Troy, like, we'll fly somewhere or drive depending on how far it is. You know, like if it's Orlando, if it's within 6 hours, we'll drive. But if it's further, so like we've flown like all over the country together this past year. You know, once a month we go somewhere. That's our thing. Once a month we go somewhere. So I make sure that we spend a whole weekend together. And then if we're not going somewhere, just me and the kids, or me and the boys, then it'll be the whole family. So me and, you know, Donna, Tia, and the boys will go somewhere. So we do that too. But we've gone everywhere. You know, we go to California, we've been to Hawaii, obviously we've been to Australia, you go to Phoenix a bunch. We've gone to Pittsburgh for like going to roller coasters and theme parks. We've gone to Ohio to roller coaster and theme parks. We've been literally, you know, New Jersey, New York, Tampa. You know, they love Orlando, and they love Tampa the most. They love Busch Gardens. So we go there. But yeah, sometimes we'll just go like to Tennessee. We went to Pigeon Forge, remember? And that was a weekend that we took. You know, like I said, every month we go at least on one trip. You happened to be living there at the time. Yeah. It was Pigeon Forge or Gatlinburg.
Yeah, both.
But we stayed at both. But yeah, so that was one of our monthly trips. So every month there's something we do. So there's like a whole weekend we spent together, and literally there's nothing else going on. Like I'm not really working or doing anything. You know, we're out of town. So that's 1 month out of 1 week out of the month. And then the other 3 weeks, you know, we definitely go to movies. You know, I like movies. We'll go out to dinner and lunch, and you know, we'll go to the gym together and different things like that. We'll just figure out stuff. You know, we watch football games together, basketball games. My kids are big into basketball. So we'll watch a lot of basketball games, and then once in a while we'll take him to a Hawks game, or I took him to a Falcons game here and there, and even Braves once in a while. So
no, what I find interesting about you guys' dynamic is Tia hangs out with you a lot more when you're at work. How come? Like the boys, like y'all would travel and do a lot of stuff, but Tia would be around you way more at work.
I think because she's around her mom all the time. So like she's not around me anywhere near as much as she's around Donna. So when I'm around, she just hangs out with me because she's not around me as much. But like if she spent the same amount of time with me and Donna, she'd be with Donna all the time. But because she's with Donna all the time, when she sees me, she'll just want to hang and do different things. And, we do different stuff. Like me and her will do different stuff that she does with her mom.
I feel like that flip-flops summertime. Summertime, she probably spends a lot more time with you than Donna. But I guess during the school season, you're here.
During the school season, I mean, she takes him to school. Well, actually, I take Tia to school every day. So Donna takes Ty and Troy to school. I take Tia to school, but she's the one that picks him up. She's the one that hangs out with him, gets him dinner, does all that stuff after. Because I don't get home till late. I work till whatever 6:30. Then I go to the gym, and I don't get home till after 8 usually. So, but they stay up till 10. So I still see him for a couple hours every night. But we just say hi, what's up? We'll watch usually they're watching a basketball game, so I'll just watch a basketball game with them, and we'll just talk and play with the dog or something.
When did you guys come up with like this schedule or format that like she does this, I do that, and how often do you revisit it to kind of to fit someone's need?
So we never like made a schedule. It's just what's logical. Like I'm, not able to do stuff at certain times because I'm at work or whatever, or I'm at the gym. Donna, it's really important to Donna to go to the gym too. She goes to the gym, I don't even know, almost every day. So but she goes when, before the kids go to school or right after she drops them off. So, the schedule just is worked around based on what I'm doing, what she's doing, what the kids are doing. And it just all fits in. It's not even like we sat down, okay, you have to do this, you have to do this. It just kind of all made sense. She used to take all the kids to school, but now they all three go to different schools, and the times that they have to start don't line up to where it would make sense to take all three. So now I take Tia, which I used to always sleep till like at least 8:45 or 9 every morning. I have to wake up 8:15 to take Tia to school. So now I'm getting up a little bit earlier than I've ever got up this year. This is the first year, but this year I've been taking her to school all year.
Well, congrats to you waking up at 8:15.
Yeah, I don't like to. I like getting like a good 9 hours sleep at least. And, I go to bed close to midnight, and I like to,
stay up later.
Yeah, so now I get 8.5 hours sleep sometimes. But yeah.
So Donna, she plays some part of role in your businesses. What part does she play in your business?
Yeah, so that's what's cool. So we see each other. That's another part of time we see each other every day. Yeah. So she comes to the office at least 4 days a week, sometimes 5, and she helps me with my admin stuff. So she's here a good, at least half a day or more. And in that time that she's here, we always go out to lunch. Almost every day she's here, we go out to lunch, unless, I have a lunch appointment or something, or she has something going on. But we go to lunch a lot. And then, we're able to talk about, little chit chat stuff and, get work done, and, we're helping each other. So it's cool.
So you guys you work together. She runs a lot of the house. When do you guys get time for like intimacy and that type of thing?
Well, at night, and then on the weekends, we're together a lot. But we actually go on date nights every Friday. Sometimes we miss it, but then we'll make it up. But every Friday, we're together. We go out to dinner and then something, and then afterwards, we hang out together. And then on the weekends, a lot of times we have plenty of time to spend together. So there's always that time. And then of course, every single night when I get home, she stays up late too, actually. So she's up when I get home. She don't go to bed till close to when I go to bed. I mean, she usually goes to bed closer to 11 or something. And I go to bed, around the same time, a little bit later. So, but we're always in the room going to sleep, by 10 or 11, and we're always there together every day. And then, like I said, on the weekends, we spend a lot more time.
That's cool, man. And it's what's really cool about it is because you have so much going on. And so the average person on the outside that probably knows you or knows about you with having how many businesses? 30?
Yeah, a few dozen.
Businesses and real estate and all these operations would think like I have no time for life. So it's really cool to hear how the home dynamic especially really flows and functions. When it comes to money, how do you guys deal with finances in the home?
So I actually have a lot more time than people think because I have people that do, run everything for me for the most part. Like there's very little amount of time that I really have to put into stuff. So I could have a lot more time if I want. But as far as the finances at home, basically we have, housekeepers that come every day, or not every day, but a couple times a week. We have, pool guys that come. We have landscapers. So I pay all the bills. I mean, she has, I pay for her car. I pay for the insurance and all that stuff. And then, she goes and buys the groceries. She buys all the clothes for her and the kids and, where she goes out and all these different things. So she came up with we came up together with how much, a budget she spends. And, she makes money for working. And then, we give her, whatever the amount of money that she feels that's what she needs every single month. So we have a monthly amount that I just give her, and that takes care of all the stuff that she needs. And then she also, makes money doing other stuff.
I remember when I was interviewing Pace, he talked about giving his wife she's the CEO of the home, and so he gives her a salary for just go do whatever.
That's basically what it is. It's exactly that. It's a salary, and it's based on the most that she could possibly need, and be able to be comfortable and not have to worry about anything.
That's pretty cool. In my home, we how we used to do it was all the money kind of just comes together and we give each other allowances, personal allowances. So it's always really interesting to hear how other people kind of navigate money in their families.
Right.
And so when money comes in, is there house money, business money, and how do you separate and manage your finances when it comes to
all the money I make is all in the States in the business. She don't even know about those accounts really because it's all business. We don't really have a shared personal account because it's not really necessary. I know she's this is the most amount of money I need every month, and that's her salary for the CEO of the house. So she gets that. She's never short on money. If she ever needs something that she doesn't have, I get it, but that never really comes to play. I buy all the expensive stuff that we need, like appliances, furniture, whatever is needed, anything that we need maintenance. But yeah, there's certain things she's responsible for, but that is taken care of in that amount. So that's kind of how it works. I would say that some people are better with money than others. So you got to make sure that the right amount of money goes to the right people without it making no sense. There's some people you could give $100,000 to and it'll be gone. And then if you give them 200,000, it'll be gone. If you give them 50,000, it'll be gone. So let's see what you really need. And then, make sure you got everything you need. Cause some people will spend way more than they really could, if they just have it, they're just going to spend it.
Yeah.
They'll figure out a way to spend it.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit dangerous. You got to, be careful.
Would you say you're the money manager?
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, all the money. I don't really spend money like that. All the money I spend is all investing it into more stuff. I don't buy super fancy or nice stuff. I mean, you see, my clothes are average or below average at best. And then actually Donna gets my clothes, but I tell her I don't want anything fancy. So, but yeah, I mean, my car. I mean, I have a little bit nicer cars, but it's not super fancy. It's just I like electric cars, so I like Teslas. But
yeah,
if there was to me, I had cheap cars. I had regular cars. I don't care about cars. I never had Lamborghinis or Ferraris or Rolls Royces or stuff like that. Bentleys, I don't care. But my house is really nice. If you come to my house, it's nicer than any other house you pretty much know, unless you just know someone crazy. But yeah, if you put my house on MTV Cribs, it would probably be one of the nicer houses.
Yeah,
because I have a little bit of everything that you'd want. But But besides the house, like everything else, like if inside my house, I don't have anything expensive. Like if somebody broke in and robbed my house, they'd be so pissed. They'd be like, "What the shit?" Like I have no jewelry. I don't keep any money there or anything valuable. My furniture is like average. TVs people don't steal anymore, but I have TVs I've had is from when I bought the house in 2012, so they're 12 years old. There's just nothing we're stealing. Donna doesn't have any like expensive pocketbooks. I don't have any shoes. I only have slippers, and no one's gonna steal those. I mean, there's just nothing to steal. So yeah, people would be pissed. I don't have anything expensive, but we have what we want. Everything's nice. It's just not like.
Yeah. Do you think that that's a mindset? Because I was literally talking with someone about this today, about the different types of millionaires, right? Where you have people who show that they're millionaires, and there are people who you'd never guess that they're millionaires. Not that one is right or wrong. You're obviously who you are, but why do you think that you choose the style that you have to not like flaunt it?
I like going to places and just kind of blending in, and people don't. We'll see how you really see how people are. Like if you're just a regular person, you run around regular people. You see how you don't want people to treat you differently per se. Just in general, it's certain events you might want to, but not like in the real world. So I just like kind of see how people are. You get to learn more about them when they just whatever. A lot of people think I'm like really poor, like when they see me, because I always walk around in like flip flops, and I have I don't wear anything fancy. I never have any jewelry. I don't even own a watch or anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of people think that way, but it's good, I don't. There's nothing bad about people thinking like that of you, especially like regular people.
Mm-hmm. And has Donna always been like that too? Where
she never really wore jewelry or anything like that either. She never had expensive purses or anything. I mean, she'll spend money for sure. If you give her money, she'll spend it.
Yeah.
But like, I have no idea exactly where it goes. It's not on like expensive stuff. It's like, I don't know. Maybe it's like buying stuff for the kids or buying stuff for the house. I don't know. She gets her hair done, it seems like every week, so I don't know how much that costs, but stuff like that.
Yeah.
She'll definitely pamper herself, but that's good. That's
Sure.
I like to pamper myself too. So
yeah, you go to you get massages like every week, and you go in your jacuzzi every night.
I try to as many nights as possible.
Right. That like, so you have your things that you do. That's like pampering is really big for you guys.
Very big. Yeah. You gotta feel good. If you don't feel good, then what's the point?
But so when it comes to money, is it just and family, right? Are your kids? Do you think your kids know that you guys have a lot of money?
I think they definitely do now, but they didn't like when they were younger. I remember them coming home and then being like, "Man, I was just over at my friend's house and he doesn't have a rock climbing wall. He shares a room with his brother. That's weird. Like why?" And like, man, they shower in the same bathroom. What the world? So I remember them like, saying stuff like that, but like they thought everyone had, like house like that. But then as they grow up, they understand, because once you're in school and you're, definitely middle school or even elementary toward the end, like, probably in the beginning. So yeah, but they don't really act any different, or anything like that.
Do you feel like they treat other kids like, there's any kind of flexing or anything like that?
No, because none of them have anything fancy either. Like if you just saw them, they are super plain.
Yeah. Where does this mindset of just plain Jane come from?
Why do you need like fancy stuff? So to me, you want fancy stuff because either it's like, it's going to do something for you. Like, you want a fancy car because it makes you feel more comfortable, but like you can still get a regular car that makes you feel comfortable. So the other reason why people get this really fancy stuff is I think because they doubt themselves or they don't have good self-esteem. So they get all this fancy stuff to make themselves feel better. But I think it's like at the end of the day, when they go home by themselves and they take it all off, they don't feel that great. So I think like people that wear a lot of fancy shit, like for the most part, most people really don't feel good about themselves.
It's interesting because I was having a conversation with someone, and my promise to myself is I don't want to buy a new car until I have a certain amount of cash flow. and I haven't hit that number yet.
Yeah.
And I want my assets to pay for my liability.
For sure.
And then there's the other side where he's like, well, bro, when you have these types of things, you can inspire other people to believe in what you're selling. And so it's almost like a marketing tool. And I feel like it's different schools of thought where I feel like I've learned from people like yourself or people like different mentors who encourage you to have an asset that pays for your liability. And I'm just like, that's what I'm doing. When I moved to Atlanta, there's a kind of different vibe where people just have stuff.
Yeah, but most of them don't feel secure about themselves. Now, there are people that have really nice stuff and have all this fancy stuff and they feel good about themselves, but it's a small percent of the people that have all that stuff. Now, the other reason why it makes sense to have like Lamborghinis, Ferraris, and bling like crazy and all this stuff is because maybe you use it to make money. Like, for instance, my friend we were talking about earlier, he's got almost, close to 2 million subscribers. He'll have it probably in the next few months on YouTube. So he drives around Lamborghini. He does all these different things, but that Lamborghini like gets him to have all these really cool videos, and that's what now helps him grow. So like if you're using it for, business as an asset to make money, it makes sense. But just to have it, Now, if you just are, super wealthy and spending whatever amount of money doesn't mean anything at that point, yeah, go ahead and get it. But then those are the people that don't like, show it off as much. They just get it and kind of, have it.
Now, I could definitely rock with that school of thought. So when it comes to the family, money, what values do you intentionally teach them? Any values around like when it comes to money, and how to manage money, since you're the money manager in the home?
Yeah, no, I definitely go through a lot of money stuff with them. So I used to do for a couple of years, like, especially when COVID first happened and the schools were out, I used to have these like kid like sessions, and I did it for a couple of years and then kind of quit. But I even did it in the summer when school was back in. But yeah, I would teach people all about money. I would teach kids about, just who to loan money to, who not to loan money to, what you get when you loan money, who to trust, who to not trust. Everyone's trying to take advantage of you. Just keep that in mind, when they're, all these different things. So I teach people about collateral and a little bit about real estate, a little bit about everything. But yeah, no, 100% money is super important because you don't learn that stuff in school. And I try to teach them what you don't learn in school, and basically all the different things about money. We go through it in pretty detail. But anytime they have questions, I have them come ask me. They all try to buy and sell stuff in school. They all did the candy thing until they weren't allowed to anymore, and whatever else they'll sell stuff they don't care about that they can make money on. Like I remember Troy got an award for winning first place in something, and his friend's like, "Oh man, I wish I got that." He's like, "I'll sell to you for $10," and he bought it. So Troy didn't care about the award, so but whatever. It's stuff like that. So they understand the value of money because they always want stuff, right? They want to buy video games or whatever it is, or new sneakers or new whatever the cool sweatshirts or whatever it is, and we won't buy everything for them. We'll make them use their own money, so that makes them value it.
That's awesome. So you guys have something where they're not spoiled brats, but they're able to still work and have some value to do things. I think that's incredible.
Yeah.
When it comes to your marriage as a whole and family, what do you think would be if you were to say like, this is what we're known for as a unit, what do you think that would be?
Just always being happy and always being like, like helping people and polite to people. Like we're always smiling, we're always happy. I think that's kind of what we're known for. Like anytime I go around, people, I love hanging out with Donna because she's so fun or so crazy or whatever. I'm not as fun as crazy, but I have my other like good stuff. I'm always smiling, I'm always happy, I'm always positive, stuff like that.
That's awesome, man. Do you think that's something that the kids embody as well?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, the kids are for the most part take what we do and do it. I mean, obviously, I would say more than an average kid for sure.
Yeah. Well, bro, this has been amazing. Thank you for being on the TMCT podcast.
For sure.
Hope you guys got some value out of this podcast. This is how wealthy people manage their families. So a lot of the paradigms that we know or have been told about when you start making money, there's no time for family. isn't true. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted Abraham on this podcast to talk about it. Thanks, bro.
And hopefully the most important thing people got out of this podcast is that if you're not dating interracially, you should, so you can get rid of racism, because that's what's going to make it happen over the next, few decades. So just keep that in mind.
Keep that in mind. All right, yo, we out. Oh, good.